Hello and welcome to another Grass Chat. My name is Russ, your host, and I'm absolutely looking forward to this one because my guest tonight has actually wanted to do this for quite a while, but things haven't worked out. But I'm delighted to say that now is the time that we are going to talk about the Autograss life and maybe a little bit more of my guest this evening. It is one and only Heidi Deeley. Hello, how are you? How is life treating you at the moment? And how are you managing in your day-to-day life with obviously this not so pleasant world that we're currently having to endure?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, all things considered, you know. Get
Good.
through each day as best as we can and enjoy the limited luxuries we're allowed.
I know, yeah. Day to day for me, really. I work from home. I've not actually been in the office since the 17th of March. So we're coming up to nearly a year where I've been working from home. To be honest, I have loved it. I've loved working from home, but I'm not sure if that's because I think for starters, I'm home on time. After work, and secondly, starting up a milk business, I can literally, as soon as 5:30 comes, I can get myself in the kitchen and start melting some wax. So for me, it's been great.
So what is your day-to-day job? What is it that you were supposed to obviously go out the house and do, which you're now having to sort of stare at a computer screen most of the day now and deal with at home?
You know what? I really can't tell you what I actually do anymore. Oh God. So I work for a recruitment agency and I pretty much do everything other than recruit. So I'm on the help desk, I help out in projects, I do demonstrations of our systems. I know that sounds all boring, but I love it. So yeah, I do a bit of everything really within.
Oh, good. Well, and obviously during this time that you've been at home, you've set up your own little side business, a personal one, Be Kind Melts, which we are a customer of. We did purchase some at Christmas, but I am disappointed you have stopped doing the Parma Violet one, which is my favourite.
Sorry. I mean, I might introduce it as a scent of the month or something maybe soon.
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh yeah, that's what's burning now, so it's right next to me. Not too close, but yeah, it's fantastic products that you've got. But where did you get that little decision to decide that you was going to do something else? Obviously, you had a bit of free time and you wanted to do something else. So what was it about wax melting that and fragrances that you wanted to get into?
I think because to be honest, I've sold perfumes for the last 10 years. And I introduced someone from Grassin actually, Jodie Glover, into also doing perfumes. And to be honest, it was a conversation that myself and Jodie had. I'll be honest, I didn't actually know what a wax melt was. So Jodie mentioned it and I was like, yeah, what is that? So I looked into it, I thought, oh, I like the concept of that. And yeah, conversations just happened, and you know, I just turned around one day and just said, "Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Shall we just look into it and start doing it?" I mean, it's something that interests me when I did look into it, and it went from there really. So yeah, it was just off the cuff suggestion really, and I'm absolutely loving doing it. So
good.
The conversation happened.
Well, good. It's obviously something which is made you preoccupy some spare time, and if it's something you enjoy, and obviously you can do it all from home as well. So, because we don't know how long this situation is going to go on for. It could be all this year. It could be next year. Unfortunately,
don't say that. I meant to get married this year. Don't say things like that.
I know. Nobody wants to endure this for another day, let alone another week, month, year. But no. Hopefully. If everybody else out there can behave like we all be should doing, then the good things we want will come back and we can enjoy ourselves again. But no, lovely that you have found something else to take up some of your time. We're going to take up some of your time tonight by talking a bit about a more unique autograss life, because your path hasn't really gone down the same route as anybody else. We're going to start right at the beginning. For a lot of people obviously know you are the daughter of a legendary name in Welsh autograss and national autograss as a whole, and that is Mike Deeley. A very flamboyant character. He was always somebody where you could tell. I mean, I never met him, but on bits of footage that I've seen in and out of the car, he's somebody which you just get drawn to. He always had a smile. There's a piece of footage which I did share to you when he was talking. There was like a bit of an interview at Nationals, and you could tell he was just happy with everything around and what he was doing. He was enjoying every moment, which we all should. But what was it like, obviously being this man's daughter growing up? Was you interested in the noises coming from the garage, the hammers, the grinders, and that? Was you interested in getting your hands dirty with him, or was you what should be said as a traditional little girl and you wanted to do girly things? Or
I was not a traditional girly girl whatsoever. I mean, I was climbing trees when my friends were playing with Barbies. I was not the traditional stay in the house or play with Barbies, go out on your push bike. I was, give me that oil. I'd be in the garage. Dad would give me the oil can to go around the car. You could tell where I'd been, to be honest. The car would get rolled out of the way and there was just oil everywhere. So I wasn't good at it, but Dad gave me that job and it was my job. So no, I loved it. I loved being in the garage. I just loved being out there, really. So yeah, he'd give me little jobs to do, like do with his cars and things, and just to get me involved. And I loved the noise. I loved everything about it, really. So which obviously we find, which I think it would surprise people why I didn't join autograss a lot sooner, because I loved it all, really, and just loved being in the garage with Dad.
So you go to a lot of meetings at an early age then, or did you stay at home? Or was it really a true family thing for you? You would go away every weekend possible. You did say to me before that the map open was always a particular family favourite. Do you have any memories from the early age of going to that meeting, or the weekend as a whole, as what it was like?
To be honest, for me it was more map open. Yes, I loved the racing, but when I was younger, I just remember thinking I just loved going into Stratford. So going on Wednesday, going into Stratford on Thursday, then it was always scrutineering on the Friday, and the whole buzz of then like building up the weekend. So I don't really remember a lot of the racing, truthfully. Right. I remember obviously watching Dad. But to be honest, when we were at the map open, for example, I would usually be on my bike having races behind the commentary and racing people on my bike there. And Mum would usually be like, Heidi, telling me that Dad's racing. So I'd leg it then. And I'd watch Dad racing, I'd watch the Class 7s racing. Then I'd then go back and ride my push bike. So I did watch some of the racing, obviously when Dad was racing. But for me, I think when I was younger, it was more so I met up with my friends, saw them on the weekend itself, but leading up to it, it was mainly spending time with my parents, and I just have just awesome memories, just spending time with them and going into Stratford. And yeah, so as a child, all those memories is just, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Now you've grown up then, is going into Stratford still an important thing for you? Do you still enjoy going out into Stratford? Obviously you can do more now in Stratford than what you could when you were little, but do you still enjoy going out before race weekends?
To be honest, Map Open now clashes with the Isle of Man TT, and we've been going there for the past bar the last last year then. We have been going to the TT for about 5 years, so I've actually not been to the Map for a while. And the last time I was at Evesham's track then was Men's Nationals 2019. So I actually did go to Stratford. I went in with Michelle Ellis, went in with Guy and Rowan as well. And that was really weird because the last time I was in Stratford was with my parents. So it was just really weird, but amazing as well. It was just beautiful because like we actually did the same things what me and Dad would usually do, like going on their own boats. So I mentioned it to Michelle and just said, oh, you know, last time I was with Stratford, you know, I was with my parents. Me and Dad used to always go on their own boats. He'd always make me row. He'd be kicking back, relaxing. I'd be like, "You're gonna help me?" And he's like, "No, you can do it. You've got it all. You've got this."
You see, when you was younger, he knew what was going to happen in the future, and he was trying to build your arm muscles up. You see.
Okay.
Because he knew what was going to be happening later down the line. But we will talk about that. But no, that's yeah, it's quite a lovely thing to hear that you sort of did the things you did before, because there's no reason to stop doing that.
No.
And I'm sure just doing it did bring back some lovely memories. But generally, I think that is to do that. I mean, I can relate. My dad loved going into Stratford. It was the best thing about the map open for him. Going into Stratford, he wasn't bothered as much about the Saturday and the Sunday as long as he got the Friday in, which is when we went into Stratford. But he didn't do anything like rowing. It was sort of bar to bar for him. that was what he enjoyed. And I sort of felt a similar thing when I went, but it was a bit different for me because it was just books and they're all the same to me. But no, it's great that you did sort of go back and do that, and I'm sure if you get the chance to go again, you will do it again and again. And
it's a tradition now. I've got to do it every time I go. Yes. I'll be on that boat rowing.
Whatever the weather.
Whatever the weather.
So now your racing career, it was unique, as we said at the beginning. You didn't have a junior career. You very, very nearly did, but it never actually came to fruition. Your dad actually got you a car to learn to drive in. You was learning at an early age, terrorising the car parks and driving around there. But what how come that if you was interested at being at racing and that, what held you back? Why didn't you make that step to actually have a go at racing? Because obviously you won't give it up now. At the beginning, was there something which put you off of actually having a go?
Yeah, and I'm probably. Do you know what? It was racing against boys. I'll be honest. It was actually racing against boys.
Okay.
Leading up to it, there were a few comments like, "We're going to put you in the fence," blah blah blah. And I think not having the confidence at a young age, it was a bit like, "Oh, okay." But I massively regret not doing it. Like I said, Dad got me a car, got me lessons. It was actually the year 2000 I was going to be racing, so I actually had a license, got a license. Yeah. My number was TA 2000. I actually thought of that all by myself. And yeah, it just I think it just scared me really. That was me racing with the boys, and I massively regret just not getting in that car now and just saying, do you know what, sod you, I'm gonna give it a go. And I massively regret not doing it. Massively.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to obviously a few ladies who have done these chats with us, and they've all had their own views on it. Being a girl racing when it is a male-dominated sport, and obviously the junior class, for every out of 10 juniors, 1, 2 at the most is actually a girl. And it can be off-putting, it can be intimidating, especially when, like you say, that you hear these little words being said around about they're going to stop you, because obviously a boy naturally gets embarrassed if a girl beats them in a race, and that's not what they want to happen. So some boys unfortunately will win at all costs and try and stop the girls winning. But yeah, so it's one of those, and the thing is, it's at that age, it's sort of an early stage of learning if you can do it. I mean, you could have actually said no and never done it. You could have even found something else to do on a weekend and gone and done that, but you didn't. It took a few years, but you did eventually make a racing debut. And as I keep saying, it was not in a car which anybody else would make a debut in.
No.
I want to know exactly how this panned out. You said you turned 19, so obviously a fair few years from when you could have started. How did it finally come about that you would end up jumping in this car to have your first race?
I was actually in the garage, helping Dad work on the car actually, and I just popped my head up and I went, I want to race. And Dad went, right, okay. But I was telling him at the beginning of the season that I wanted to race. So he said, well, I've not got anything for you. You know, had you said, you know, at the end of last year, could have maybe built you something, or we could have looked for something. So what do you want to race? I said, well, I'll just race a Chevy. And he just looked at me as if to say, like, well, I didn't expect that to come out your mouth. I went, okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, my first meeting was in the Chev. Yeah.
So to put this into context, was you driving on the road at that time?
Yes.
What was your road car?
Oh.
You remember? What would it have been like? Was it like a small hatchback?
Really? So it was a Citroen Saxo, 1.1, single injection.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what all the cool kids have. So
yeah,
the only real driving experience you had was a Citroen Saxo 1.1 on the road, and next minute you're now begging your dad to drive this Chevy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
exactly
as I say,
what happened, right?
it's quite a way to go. So had you ever managed to like jump in the seat before? You know, sort of the car sat there in the garage. Did you even like just sit in it and play like what kids did?
No.
No, you never did that. So
I mean, I did it as a kid, you know, in like all of Dad's previous cars, and I'd sit in and have photos, but no, actually sat as an adult in the Chev. I just looked at it and like I said, I was working on it. I just popped my head up and I said, I want to race.
Was it pink at that time, or did that come later?
That was later.
I take it that was that your decision?
Well, I wanted pink and Dad wanted blue, so we had a blue chassis and pink panels.
And we'll get to that again. We'll get to that again in a little while. But for now, then, so your dad just turned around and says, "Yeah, okay, we'll get your license again sorted." And so, do you remember your first meeting in the car then?
Because obviously, it was yesterday. Yes, I do.
Because obviously, unfortunately, with ladies class 10, has even at top level for many years has struggled for getting people in the cars. So obviously, I'm sure like in our part of the world, it would be class 14. If you was to race at a club meeting, you would be with 8s, 9s, and any other 10s together. So you're going in this car and you're against different types of cars, and you've got ladies who have obviously got a lot more experience, some maybe not. But how did this first race, this first day go for you? What do you remember about obviously jumping in the car in the pits, driving to the start line for the first time? Because obviously the home tracks you had are quite big, so it's quite it is. It's quite a thing for you. So you've got all these scenarios of the car, the track, the people you're against. What memories do you have of that first day?
I remember it like it was yesterday. So got in the car. Actually, I couldn't put my seatbelts on. Dad did that for me. Dad put them on. And I went up to the line. It's queuing up. Anyway, it was our turn. And at the time, to be honest, it wasn't 14. There wasn't actually enough of us to do a class 14. We were all out together. So I was out with a 5, I think there was an 8, and another 10. So I went on the 3rd or 4th flag or whatever it was. Anyway, I remember counting it. So anyway, pulled up to the line, was told what flag I was going off. Yeah, no problem. Put it into gear. Right, okay. Anyway, my flag went. Well, the flag went. I didn't move. I was stationary. It just went vroom, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm in neutral. What the hell? Dad legs it over. He comes in from the left, and he goes, "You've not put it in gear properly." So he goes, "Put the clutch in." So I shoved the clutch. Bear in mind, this is a very heavy clutch, and my legs, like, as soon as you put it in, your legs start shaking. It's heavy. So anyway, put it in. Dad shoves it in gear, but not the gear we agreed on. Puts it in third gear. He goes, "No need to change gear. Rev the," can I swear?
Go for it.
He actually said, "Rev the bollocks off it and just go." Okay, fine. So he steps away, revved it as much as I thought I needed to give it, went, "Well, Christ." And I was like, living life. And he also said to me, "Just go for it. Don't change gear and just chuck it." And that's what he said to me. The last words he said to me before he stepped away from the car. So I thought, right, okay, floor it, chuck it. That's all I remembered, really. Floor it, chuck it. So revved it, went, bend. Well, okay, we'll chuck it in then. That's what Dad said. So throw it in. Threw all sorts of shapes, got round, checkered flag came around quite quick. Anyway, pulled in, parked up. Dad was like, "What did you think? Did you like it?" Just that goes, "Don't worry, it's not for everyone. You've given it a go." Or, "I didn't like it. I bloody loved it." And he just gave me his go. And he was like, "So do I have a lady driver for the show?" And I went, "You bloody do." So yeah, I loved it. Car was awesome. Car is awesome.
I think just the scenario of how that panned out made it even better. The fact that you didn't have it in gear, the fact that it went in the wrong gear, and then you had this last second advice of what to do, literally when you should have already gone. And,
I did it all backwards. I mean, like, most people don't really get the bends, but they nail a start. I cocked up the start, but then apparently it looked all right on the bends, according to Dad. So I did it completely backwards. Completely.
Well, it wasn't a backwards thing that you enjoyed it, because otherwise you wouldn't be where you are now. And I think that is one of the most memorable of anybody's first races that we could have. Even though there wasn't many cars out there, it was only a club meeting, there wasn't many people there. But for those who were, and especially for yourself, obviously, I think that is an amazing way to have your initial outing in autographs. So what, just trying to get back onto the notes, we're actually going to step away from it for a little bit. I mean, when you got to race against other ladies properly, sort of like straight line start with more of a grid and a few, how did you feel about that? Obviously you're in this car which is a bit bigger than some of the other cars around you. Did you feel sort of like you maybe scared the other ladies who were around you because you're in a bigger car, or what did you think about racing others, especially when the grids got a bit bigger?
So my first experience was actually the year I started racing. Dad turned around to me and said, "Do you want to do the nationals?" And I was like, "All right, let's go." It was only Penhow. It was local-ish to us. Anyway, so the first time I ever experienced a full grid was at the nationals.
Yeah.
So Penhow, I actually didn't click that there was going to be a full grid. I just kind of, I suppose I went back to kind of just racing a handful of people, really. So then when I remember being on the grid and being lined up and just thinking, whereas someone's wheels might have been 2-3 meters away from me before, they're now right next to me. So I'm just thinking, you're a bit close. Looking side by side. I hope my car goes straight. Please go straight. And yeah, so that was my first experience actually of a full grid, was at the nationals on my first year racing. Didn't do too bad really, considering my first year. And with not having any experience of a lot of other women on track with me and scenarios, etc. So yeah, no, that was the first time, and it was weird, and like I said, it was just something that I didn't think about before that event really, until I was on the start line, and then I thought, yeah, there's more than 2 of us here now. We've got a full grid. So, but yeah, it didn't faze me, to be honest. And just went and just had fun with it, and there was no pressure. It was my first year racing, and just enjoyed it and just took it all in, really. And yeah, actually, I loved it.
Good. Well, you obviously got more and more interested in it, and you would actually, for a little while, you would move into Class 8. Well, you wouldn't move into, you would race both. So how did the Class 8 come about? And was this just because you wanted to, maybe, no disrespect to ladies Class 10, but you maybe wanted to race more people on a more regular basis? Was that sort of the direction why that happened? Just because, as I say, especially at club meetings, there aren't many ladies Class 10, but you would, especially now, you would get a few Class 8s to race with. Was that maybe why you wanted to try that?
To be honest, the Chev was home with Dad, and I was at the time living in Manchester. So, well, okay. I am living where I am now. So it came about really because it was just something that I could have here, and race around the country, you know, wherever we went, just try and get a big experience in that, really. So I actually bought the car back from home, so actually in the same village as where I'm from. It was just like left outside, abandoned, really. So knew of it. Only a little Blackbird. So bought it, did it up. Dad, of course, did the spray paint on it. And yeah, just raced that for a season, really. Took most of the season to kind of get to not to grips with it, but there was niggling issues with the engine and stuff, so we kind of sorted it out, but it kind of came towards the end of the season. I didn't really have much time in the seat, really, where the car was behaving, I suppose. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't a 10.
No. Not enough cylinders.
Didn't do the same thing for me, so it was, you know, let's get rid of this, and I want that Chevy back.
Yeah. Well, no, at least you had a go, and there may be scope to have another go later down the line. You never know. But obviously, you are a Class 10 girl because that's where you started, and that's where your passion lies with it. And I think it's great that you are fully committed to this class because, as I say, it has really struggled in years gone by, and it needs more people to support it because I think now it's one of the best classes out there, men's and ladies. And we will get back onto some of that in a little while, but we want to go back to Class 10, and we just want to mention your dad again because, as we say, he's been supportive from day one when you said he wanted to get in that car. Did he? Obviously he wanted you to do well, but did he, after that first day, did he continue to give any tips about your races, or did he just leave you to yourself to think about what you're going to do? And as long as you came off the track happy, so was he.
So we actually, when I started racing, then it just kind of happened where, so Dad would always do the first men's race, but then wouldn't race for the rest of the weekend. He just basically wanted to make sure the car was right for me.
Yeah.
So he'd race, he'd come in, give me feedback, it's doing X, Y, and Z, or, you know, it's not doing X, Y, and Z, do you want to change anything or whatever. And usually I'd say, you know, leave it as it is, and I'll see if I experience the same things what you're saying. If I then come in and agree, then we'll change a few things. But if not, we'll just leave it as it is. So yeah, as far as being supportive, I don't think, you know, someone giving up their car for the weekend, I don't think you can get more supportive, really.
No, definitely not.
It was I felt a bit gutted that, not gutted, no, I did feel gutted. I thought he's given up his weekend for me, really. So it was a lush feeling. I think, do you know what, you're doing this 110% for me. And it was nice.
Yeah. Well, no, definitely. As you say, you can get advice, you can be told what the track's like, how the car's working, but then to say, you do it, and whatever you need, then we'll do it. And that, yeah, you can't get any better than that, I don't think. 2012 was, we think, well, you say, was actually the last time you raced the Chevy at the Nationals. You didn't do bad, but for some reason you wasn't quite so happy with it. You did get a fourth, you got a trophy, but for some reason you wasn't quite so pleased with the end result. Why was that? And anybody would love to have a trophy at the Nationals. And
I know. I feel bad saying it, but I think I wanted to do. I think a lot of time, obviously, don't get me wrong, I love the Chevy. I love racing it. I love the sound of it. I just love everything about it. But a lot of the time, it was I wanted to make sure. I think because Dad was giving up his weekend, giving me the car, I was doing it for him.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like trying to get the best result as I could. And obviously, everyone goes to win it. And I think, you know, everyone had twin bikes, and we know twin bikes are, you know, they're, I wouldn't say quicker, because you've got people like Vinny out there who's proven them wrong. Yeah, you've got a lot of twin bikes, etc. And like, yeah, I think for me, I just obviously wanted to do as best as I could. So I mean, I actually remember a part of that race again, like it was yesterday, and I remember seeing Libby Cornwell's wheels. I saw her front end, and I don't know if she had to brake hard or not, but Chev is long, and if I could see her wheels there, and I just went cross, and I was like, you're not having this. This is my position. I'm having this fourth. But I do remember like having quite close racing with Jess Brown, who ended up third in that race, and you had I think, God, who was Jade Russell, and I think it's Di Jones who they'd gone, and I was battling a little bit with Jess, and I thought, you know, I can get third here. I'd love to get third, but just didn't happen. I got fourth, and like I said, I remember seeing Libby's wheels, and I thought, no, you're not taking this last place position from me. Well, not last place, but last podium position from me then. And I remember just thinking, no, you're not having that. And then crossing the line and thinking, I'm on the podium. But then also when I then drove in, I just had this like feedback. It's just a gutting feeling. I thought, I wish I'd done better for Dad.
Yeah.
And his smile on his face just said completely different. He was completely like just ecstatic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the smile on his face just turned that around for me then. And it was like, you know what, I think I've made you proud today. Yeah.
No, definitely. Like I say, not everybody can get a trophy at the Nationals, and to win one, to earn one, is a great achievement. And don't let that take that away, because it's a fantastic moment, which, as I say, not everybody can get to enjoy.
Sorry to cut across. I felt like I said, when I felt gutted, I felt I should have done better. And then, but like I said, when I saw that smile on both my mum and my dad's face, I just thought, you know what? I feel like I won this. Like, their faces just said it all, and it was like, it's a memory that I'll always remember.
Good. Don't ever forget things like that.
No.
You would end up actually with another car, though. You would go join, especially at that time, because the V8s hadn't really come back. But you had got another car. You joined the twin bike races. How did that compare to the Chev? Because obviously, have you still got the car? Because I know you did have it for sale. Is it?
Still got it. I'm going to plug it. It's still for sale. I do still have it. Yeah, she's sat in the garage next to the Chevy, actually, side by side.
Yeah. How does that car compare to the? Obviously, nothing's going to be like the Chevy. But when you first jumped in that car, what was your initial feelings and thoughts on it of how the car was?
First thing you notice is how light it is compared to Chev. The Chev is 3/4 of a ton. So when you've gone from that weight to the weight of a twin, straight away you can feel it. Just being on track, the pickup speed is completely different. You've got grunt with the Chev, then you've got, like I said, you've just got pickup with a twin. So completely different. And for a while, I think, so I was used to a lower noise, I suppose, like of noise. I wasn't used to then having to hear a me kind of noise. So when I first took it out, Lee was like, "You're not revving that car hard enough. You're not revving it near enough what you should be revving it." And it's like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "You're not." So it did take me a couple of meetings to get used to it, and and completely different. I mean, I think that the main difference for me was corners. The Chev, I had to chuck that in probably before the tires like even begun, as in like the Marshall posts.
Well, that explains why.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why almost every single photo of you in the Chevy is your arms like that and the car going sideways. There isn't many of you in the straight line.
No, there isn't. Definitely not. But so that was a massive difference. Like I said, I was chucking the Chevy in before the Marshall's post just to get a tight line, to just try and keep as close to the cones or ties, whatever, you know, at the time. So I was doing, I went out obviously in the twin, did what I was used to, threw her in, and it just turned in. And I was like, oh Christ, I don't want to be doing that. I'm going to take out the whole corner. So it took me a while to set it up and put it in where I should be putting her in. And so that took some time as well.
You enjoy it still, the car?
Yeah, I do really enjoy it. It's such an easy car to handle. Wherever you put it, she goes, and it's made, I think my twin journey then, I suppose, just a lot easier, just because it's such a simple car to handle.
Good. Back to the Chev before we actually move away from it. Apart from obviously that Nationals moment where you were full of mixed emotions over it, what would you say your best moment in that car would be? Would it be the very first race, or is there another moment which sticks out in your mind as like your favorite race in that car?
I did love that, but it was a blur. So I don't really remember it. I just remember trying to just get used to the car, so I don't remember the race itself, just the build up to it and the end really. So I remember I did have a fab race at Cumdy actually. That was a Bass round when it was, you had like Carrie Mills, Angie Chilvers, those kind of people racing at the time, and the whole weekend was going good actually. But the final is the race that I remember like really clear. I've been struggling really to kind of keep up with Carrie, but this one, the final, I was with her. I was like, hey. So I was with her for about 2-3 laps, and then dust kicked up, and it was just like, oh god, I don't know where she is, whatever. So I hesitated a little bit, and then when I come out the other end, she'd gone pretty much. So I was battling really with Angie, and I knew Angie was behind me. And I remember just 1 lap to go. I had 1 lap to go. That was it. And I was lying in second. I thought, this feels like it's good. You just know when a race feels good, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, I overcooked it, didn't I? Trying too hard, because someone, the name of Gary Ray, turned around to me that weekend and said, "You're not trying hard enough unless that front wheel is off the floor." So, so come the final, that front wheel was off the floor, but it meant I overcooked it. You just come past me, and I was like, gutted. So I finished, and I was like, really deflated. I thought that second was mine. I had that in the bag.
Yeah.
Last lap, and I overcooked it and just let it past. Don't be wrong, you couldn't get a nicer person past you. That's what I mean. Love Angie to bits. But I was gutted. Anyway, came in the pits, and we always park underneath bottom of the hill at Cundy.
Yeah.
Under the tree. Anyway, parked up, turned the car off, got out, saw Dad walking over. I thought, oh god, he's gonna give me a bollocking. If he's gonna tell me off here. Anyway, no, come over, went, that was brilliant. I went, what do you mean? I said, second place. And he went, that was the best, you've raced that car in a long time. And I was like, I'll take that. I think most of my memories really is, I think it's evident that most of my memories are Dad's reaction to, I suppose, how that race went. When I thought I've done terrible, and then he comes over with a massive Cheshire Cat grin on his face, and he's like, "That was brilliant." And I was like, "Really?" I've never seen that video back, so I need to get in touch with Tony Bayless really and see if we can dig that video out.
Yeah, I'm sure. If do you remember what year it was? Sorry, we'll try and look into it. We will do a hashtag help Heidi with some footage from those days.
Well, we know it's between 2007 and now.
Right.
With that.
We'll have a look. But no,
I know it's happy with that.
Yeah, I can fully relate to where no matter what your result is, you see when people come over and they say something, especially parents. I had the same. I mean, I was always a bit of an underachiever in the class 9 when we had it, but I made my first class final at Evesham and I finished 3rd. And I just remember when you finish at Evesham, you come down and then you pull off the track at the bottom of the corner, and my dad was stood there right in front of me, and yeah, just his face made it 100 times better than the race already was. So no, it's something you never forget.
No,
now I want to touch up on something which is one of the most emotional things that anybody has done in the sport. Obviously, we all know that sadly we lost your dad, but you went out your way to do something in a bit of honour and respect and memory. And I think it was 2014. You decided that you would do something to raise money for charity, and to obviously remember, respect, and to help others who go through similar things and all that. But you decided to do something at was it at the Nationals 2014 in the beer tent? When did you decide that you were going to do this compared to any other thing that you could have done? And what were your obviously we don't want to go too deep into emotions, but just very shallowly, what were your sort of thoughts with what this went on? And I think you raised around £3,500 at what I saw in an article. That must have been amazing to have done that. So obviously we don't want to go too deep into it, but just obviously in your words, how was all
that? So I actually decided to do it when I was actually at the NEC. So
okay.
I just turned around to Lee and I said, I'm going to do a head shave. And
did you say you wanted to look like him?
Exactly what he said. No. Yeah, when I shaved it, I still had more hair than him. Yeah, I decided. I remember it was that weekend. It was in January. I turned around to Lee and said, "I'm gonna do a head shave." And he said, "Why head shave?" I said, I could easily chuck myself out of a plane. I could easily do a marathon. Not easily do a marathon. Obviously, that's a lot of training. Yeah. But I wanted to do something that was going to shock people, that made them people think, I'm going to donate to that. And at the time, you didn't have a lot of Brave the Shave. A lot of adverts you've got now and stuff, and it wasn't really a well-known thing, I suppose, that a woman did at that time. Well, not that I knew of anyway. So I grew my hair as long as I could because I thought, do you know what, I want the shock factor here. So I grew it probably actually longer than what I've got it now. And yeah, I just thought I'm going to do a head shave, try and raise as much money as I could. And you were correct, it was just over £3,500 that was raised. And I remember being in the beer tent and sitting down, and Lindsay Weir, she brought the clippers with her and stuff, and Michelle Ellis then did the first cut. oh, I actually made a little girl cry. So a little girl came up to me with some money, and I had one of my pigtails in my hand, and I waved it. I went, "It's your turn next." She cried. Oh my god. I felt so sorry because she's given me some money as well, and I just made her cry, and she's giving me money. I turned around to her mum and I went, "I'm so sorry. It was a joke." Made a little girl cry. But I mean, when it finished, then I actually had the Ivy flag on around me, and it was actually the flag that I believe was Tyvy's flag when my dad was chairman, and I think 1955, I think it was the year. So I still have that flag, and that was the flag I'd wrapped around me. And then when I stood up on the chair, and then I looked how packed the beer tent actually was. Obviously, you know the beer tent's packed, but I just didn't. I don't know. Just emotions come over me, and it was another memory that I just will never forget.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you say, you could have done other things, but in fairness as well, once you've done that, it's sort of forgotten about. I mean, you did something which would stay with like that you would stay obviously like that till it grew back, which could have taken a few months to grow back properly. So obviously when it did grow back, you got to play with new hairstyles and things like that. So there was extra benefit.
I learned that I love the pixie crop. I learned that. I also learned you've got a shaved head, make sure you put suntan lotion on when it's very sunny. Because the next day it was boiling, did not think about putting suntan lotion on my head, and I burnt it. For about 2 weeks I was like, oh, that hurts. Remember that, guys and girls?
No, again, it was a fantastic thing that you did, obviously for the reasons, but was you quite shocked, obviously, with the total amount which got raised? Did you have a target?
Yeah, well, my target initially was £500, and then when I saw the Just Giving page go past that amount, I increased it to 1,000, and I thought, if I get £1,000 out of this, I am chuffed, basically.
Yeah.
So no, I just didn't. I'm lost for words, and I'm never lost for words. So I actually had someone. I can't remember what the amount was. Someone, I think my Just Giving page was on 15. I think my Just Giving page, it was about £200-300 short, or something like that, from the £1,500. And someone donated the difference, and I still do not to this day know who put that in.
Really?
Don't have a clue. I thought it was my mum. Thought, rang her and I said, have you put however much it was? I can't remember off the top of my head now what it was, but it was it wasn't pocket money, it was a decent wad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rang her and I said, have you made this up to £1,500? No, what are you on about? I went, are you lying to me? No, I'm not. I've not done that. So to this day, I have no idea. And it says anonymous on the, when they donated it, and I still have no idea to this day who put that money in.
It's an amazing thing. I mean, they may have known you, they may not have known you, but they may have known your dad.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just an amazing thing, and obviously you're still proud to this day that you did it and achieved more than what you set out to do in that process. So yeah, definitely a huge respect for what you did. Amazing it was back then, but no, should feel very proud. Obviously I've gone through it as well, going back to the race meetings and seeing your racing family and friends and things like that. You did admit to me that 2015 was a tricky year in some ways. You was at the Nationals that year, and somebody said something to you. We don't need to know the details on that, but did that help in a way at that time? Because obviously you were at the Nationals, it's quite important, and then somebody comes and speaks to you, just trying to be polite, and then obviously that brings some things in when you're trying to concentrate. Did you manage to use that to help motivate you and keep going, or? We, again, don't need to go into too many details if you don't want to, but did you sort of help motivate yourself before you went into that next race?
It did actually. So I mean, I'm okay with talking about it. So I was in the holding lane, and a gentleman who was helping out in the holding lanes asked how Dad was. So it obviously caught me off guard. You assume that people know, and especially when it's like 2 years down the line. But equally, you know, why would they know as well? Because they are on a different track, you know, they're quite far away from where you are, etc., etc. So anyway, this gentleman did ask, you know, how's your dad? And I just looked at him and I just went, and I obviously said to him, oh, look, you know, I don't mean to make you feel bad, but my dad has passed away. And he did feel bad, and he's like, oh, I obviously didn't know. I said, well, obviously you didn't know, you would have asked if you know, if you knew. So I remember just then thinking, I've got to compose myself here. Like, I'm getting called up now to the line. I'm thinking, right, okay, let's do this. So it did actually motivate me, because I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this for him. I'm going to do this. We ended up having a rerun, and I was actually leading for 2 laps, and then we don't talk about the rest.
Okay.
I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted. I was leading it. I was winning the national final for a couple of laps, and all of a sudden, I could literally be sat in that car right now. I remember thinking, you're in front, and it's the worst thing you could do. The worst thing you could do is think. And no one was going to go around me, because I mean, as everyone knows, like YD track, polishes, bit of water had gone down as well. Pretty much the only line there was the tight line, and I had that line. And all of a sudden, I went into bend too quick and went out too wide, and then I let Di Jones through, and that was it. I literally went from beginning, like I literally went from winning to the back. I actually think I finished right at the back, and I just I overcooked.
I suppose once that initial mistake happened, you maybe sort of lost your composure in the car, and yeah, it just went that way. In holding lanes, then, are you one of those who, when you pull up into the holding lane, you just sit there, focus, and think about what, like, you look at the track if you can see it from the holding lanes, what conditions are like, whether the water cart's been out? Do you sit there composed, or do you sort of get out of the car, have a stroll? Do you have a chat with anybody? I'm in that car. I'm in it, not strapped tight at that point. I won't get out. I've never done it. I don't know why. I've just never got out of the car. I've always just sat there. There could be a half an hour break, and there could be 6 reruns in front of me. I'm still in my car. Yeah, I won't get out. You have to be like, "You're gonna get out?" Nope. He's like, "You're weird." So I'll be sat there. Yeah, I'll just stay in there, and then obviously I'm maybe like 3 rows back. I'll then tie my straps, and then I'm just. That's it then. Ready to race.
Yeah. Well, looking at attempting to race is probably what I'd say.
No, because you definitely raced on this next point we're going to talk about, and I had the utmost pleasure of talking about it on that time. It is one of the best drives I have ever seen, coming from probably the not so best first 2 laps I've ever seen, but the end result was absolutely amazing. It was 2017. It was the Ladies and Juniors Nationals, first heats of Class 10. Yeah, the first part of the race didn't go to plan at all. But I watched it back the other day, because when I was trying to find some notes on yourself, I found the video you shared. I thought I had a copy of it, but from a different angle, but I haven't, sadly. But yeah, the first couple of laps didn't go. But I think going into the last lap, you was 5th. You was definitely 4th, 5th around the last lap, and then I think you won the race in the end by a tiny amount. This is it is still one of the best races I have ever seen. And I actually watched it. When I watched it back, I was a bit disappointed I didn't put more into the commentary side of it, because I thought I could have.
You put more into it. I think you put everything that you had going.
No, I really dislike my voice and my commentating skills. I don't like it. weirdly, to seeing as how I do this every week. But no, what you did in that race, it was definitely a tale of two halves. And like I say, it went from frustration, didn't get the start right, didn't get the first corner right, because I think you may have nearly tripped over somebody else. But then, bang, through you went, and you actually won that race. From you, how did that go? Because, like I said, you mustn't have been able to believe how it panned out either.
No, terrible start. You've already covered, thanks. Yeah, I actually almost stalled it on the line. Basically, clutch and throttle were off, and I nearly stalled it. So I just managed to catch the clutch before it kind of went. So I just managed to catch it, and I thought, oh, I'm annoyed with myself here. So revved it, dropped it, went. Anyway, caught up with them, managed to come into the bend. Caught up with them quite quick, I felt, as well. Anyway, just kind of, I do remember just being behind, and I thought, why am I sat here? Go round. So I went round. So held on, went round. I was in around the outside. And I remember just thinking, this car's got some legs on her. Like, she's going around these cars. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep plugging away. You might get third or fourth here. You know, you might be able to redeem yourself somehow, get some points, which isn't last place. So picked them off, and I thought, no, I could do this. I could win this. So then last lap, yeah, when you say last lap, I think I'm pretty sure I was like fourth or something.
You were fourth or fifth. I couldn't quite remember. Yeah. Just coming out the last corner before starting the last lap.
Yeah, and then top bend happened, and then there was a bit of a kerfuffle, wasn't there? And I think I just kept it on the outside. It did put me off a little bit because one of the cars stepped out, and I thought, Christ, so I didn't back off. I kept it pinned, but I just went round, and then I remember just looking across and just thinking, this is very close between us. And then when it was announced that they called it that I'd won it, and I was like, what the hell just happened? So I had a couple of people actually from Ireland message me saying, we're listening on Bass FM, and that race sounded awesome, we wish we were there. I was like, I don't really know what happened, but yeah, I won that one. I remember seeing Lee walking up the pits, and he was just like, that was brilliant. And I was like, it felt good, did it look good? And he's like, well, you went from last to first, so I think that speaks for itself. So I was like, and what I loved as well was that mum was there. My mum was there that weekend. And mum tends to go to a lot of meetings, but she'll go to so mum won't go to meetings if it involves going on the motorway. So
right.
The only meetings she'll go to is Fundy, and pretty much our track.
Races at home, yeah.
Pretty much the only ones. So I was chuffed that mum was there that weekend, and she saw that. So that was good.
Amazing. It gave you some confidence going into the rest of the weekend, obviously, because you will get your best nationals result of second, I believe.
Yeah.
I know everybody wants to win. That's what we do. That's what we aim for. But was you pleased with that at the end? Obviously, it was your best ever result at the nationals. Was you pleased with the overall outcome? Was you happy with how you did personally?
I think you'd be silly not to be proud, but yeah. I was also so first bend, there was a bit of an incident, and I got caught up in it. It just slowed me down, and it meant that Tori got away, and I was like, so I would have liked the opportunity to have tried to chase down, but Tori was gone. Actually, Tori was so far ahead, my mum actually turned around to Lee and thought Tori was last, and when I finished second, my mum actually thought I'd won it. Oh. So until someone around her and say, no, Tori was just that far ahead, basically. There was an incident which I got caught up, and then it meant that there was a group of us that was chasing for second place. So I got past Diane Heath. I was keeping it tight, and I could see it going wider as well, and I thought it's going to happen soon. I'm gonna be able to tuck inside her, and it happened. So I finished second, and to be fair, like I was, I did actually enjoy that, even though I got caught up. I actually had a bit of a, I did really enjoy that race, and I actually felt like, second place at nationals. I felt really proud then. And it's actually the first year that, well, I actually had dad's photo in my top.
Right.
So every nationals now since then, I have this certain photo, and that, because that was the first nationals I had the photo had like edges which dug into my skin. But by the end of the weekend, it was molded. So now I've got a molded photograph, which the year after it was very comfortable.
Yeah. Some people do have, obviously, good luck charms, whether you believe in them or not. But no, it's a nice thing that does, and obviously if it gives you comfort in the car now anyway, and if it helps give you some confidence going in, then yeah, why not? You've had some decent success racing in Class 10, particularly in the Baz. I hope I'm right in saying you have won the Baz title at least once, yes?
3 times, yeah.
Great, there we go. Unfortunately I've not followed the Baz as closely as I used to, but 3-time Baz champion.
It's always been an odd year, so I was hoping racing was going to happen this year. Well, I'm still hoping it's going to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you obviously enjoy racing in the Baz. You've been successful at it. I would say as well, you quite enjoy Baz racing, where especially 2019, the last full year we had, that they now put ladies racing out first at some events. That must be obviously nice for you, because it means that you can finish earlier and Lee has to wait all day.
And maybe not get a second heat in.
yeah, and then Lee's got to get up at 6 in the morning to make sure the car and him's ready to race.
Yeah, tables have turned.
yeah. What obviously you enjoy the Baz. What do you enjoy? You enjoy racing the car at Baz rounds? Ladies Class 10s can be a bit up and down in numbers, but yeah. Is there anything that you could say that could maybe entice some more ladies to join at the Baz? Because that's the downside with the Baz UK split, because more ladies seem to race at the UK. So what would you be able to say to try and get some more ladies in, because they don't seem to race them week in, week out like you do yourself?
No, I think if don't really know what to say.
No.
I suppose if they get a chance to get in a car, just get in it and try it. I suppose you don't know if you're gonna like the sport until you give it a crack, and Class 10 is not for everyone to start with. I mean, it was for me, but I mean, regardless what class it is, if you get the opportunity, I'd say take it and have a go. Yeah.
What do you think to ladies Class 10 as a whole now? Because obviously you started at the beginning and you're still in Class 10 now, and it's obviously changed now. I mean, when you started, there wasn't as many ladies 10s. Now it is quite strong. I think the 2019 Nationals, there was definitely 2 heats. There might have even been 3. So that's a massive jump from what it used to be. What do you think to the competition in the class now?
See, you say that, but when I started, you had like your Lynn Johnsons, you had like your Carrie, your Angie. There was quite a lot of people in ladies 10 actually. I'd say there was at least 2-3 grids at nationals when I was, when I first started. So I would actually say, since UK has come into it really, and like you said, there is that split now where most ladies 10s do tend to do the UK. So it is a shame, because ladies Class 10 is a fab class to be in. Not just the racing that you do get with the ladies, but just the people who are in the class itself. They're all just lovely. And I'd never feel like there's any bitchiness, or you can get quite a lot of that kind of
That's the same in the men's as well.
But I don't feel like there's any of that, and I feel like regardless who you're racing against, everyone's always like happy for each other and kind of congratulating each other, and you know, I just don't feel like there's any bad tension between anyone. So ladies class 10, if anyone's going to join a class or try a class in ladies, honest to God, class 10s is where it's at, really. You need to join.
We do. We do, if it's possible. Now, I don't want to say this as a rant, and it's not at you, because you have supported class 10 from the very beginning of your first race. But when I've done like my nationals predictions and that, I'm not having a go at any ladies here, but it is a little frustrating that at sometimes for the ladies nationals that some of them, they get offered a car to race, and yeah, they can race the car at the ladies and juniors nationals. That's brilliant. It boosts the competition and the numbers at the nationals. But wouldn't it be nice to see them race a bit more regularly in the cars? I have said maybe as a rule where if a lady wants to race a car at the nationals which wasn't their own, they should have to have raced that car X number of times before the cut-off date as such. So if they had to do 3 meetings, as say, that could actually boost numbers at a meeting, because if they were going to share that car, it might not necessarily be at a club meeting. It could be a big one where more people are together. Would you agree with that? Because also it gives the ladies more seat time, track time before they do that. As I say, we don't want to turn it into a rant, but what would you say to help boost ladies' grids as well, if they could actually race the car a bit more often? Because are there some weekends where you decide, well, especially a club meeting, I'm not going to race because I've got nobody to race against, or are you keen to actually race the car, whatever, wherever? So,
to be honest, living in Manchester now, usually when we go to club meetings, it's usually a qualifier for Lee. And other leagues haven't up until recently been able to race. So if I turned up with a TA car anyway, I couldn't race anyway, until recent years when they've allowed it to be open. But so I do agree, but I'm also a hypocrite for saying that as well, because at 2014 I had a lot of issues with the Chev, and to the point where I needed a new engine rebuild, and I was offered Terry's car to race at the nationals, Panhow, and I got in that car and raced it. I hadn't turned a wheel in it before. I'd obviously sat in it and I'd driven it around and I took it around the field and stuff, but I almost didn't do the nationals because I didn't agree with someone getting into a car that they weren't familiar with, like basically what you just said, and going especially to the nationals, jumping in the car and racing it. So I actually turned around at one point and said, I'm not going. And Lee was like, well, it's not as if it's a new class. You know the ladies, they know you, they know your style. It's not as if it's a completely different class. You've never raced in that class before. You're familiar with that class. So he said, take it and see how it goes. So I did take Terry's 10 to the National 2014 and raced it, but because I had issues. Obviously, had I not had issues, I would have been in a car that I was completely familiar with.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a hypocrite for saying I agree, but I also did it myself. So for that 1 year, but I do sometimes look at the list and be like, who the hell are you? Where have you come from?
Because it'd be nice for you to be able to race them as well at another meeting. And and like I say, it would help possibly boost some numbers up at other meetings, and you get to race people more often, and they might actually then be more keen to race the class.
Yeah, I mean, you do tend to find the BAS before nationals, you do tend to get a few more ladies' 10s because they are testing the cars, they are going to be racing at nationals. And that's lovely. I actually look forward to that BAS round because I know there's going to be more of us. So I actually look forward to that BAS round, thinking, oh, how many of us are there going to be? Who's going to turn up? And yeah, I love that BAS round because there's more than four or five of us on the grid. So yeah, we definitely do need more ladies 10s, and I'd fully encourage whoever wants to race the nationals just do more meetings and just to get familiar with the car, and yeah, it's just so that we can race them as well. That's it, really.
Yeah, good. Well, no, we want to see full grids. There's nothing more disappointing than being at a major meeting and there only being 3 or 4 cars. I mean, 4 cars can make a very, very good race. It's happened before and it'll happen again. But it would be nice to see a full grid. Hopefully,
good races with Shauna and Becky. We've had some good races, close races. Myself and Libby, a couple of years before, we've had some good races. So you can turn it. It might not be great for you guys to watch, but when you sat in the car and you're having a decent race, then it feels, if it is good for the driver, really. So it feels like you've accomplished something when there's not many of you, but you get a decent race. So that's good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as the race is good for those in that race. Then that's what matters first, anyway. So you've not really raced many cars in your autograss life. You've had the Chevy, you had the 8, you've got the car you've got now, and you've had a go in Terry's. Have you actually raced any other cars? And then bring me on to my next question. Is there another class that you'd like to have a go in?
So Lee wants to share a class 9.
Yeah, Lee sampled class 9.
Yeah, and I'd love going with 3, which could be completely different because I'm used to seeing wheels. I'm not used to having a shell around me.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But I think you know what I think it is with a 3? You can put a Chevy in a 3. I think that's what it is.
You've not fancied a 7?
Not really. I mean, they're great to watch. I love watching them, but it's never really been a class that I think, oh, I'd have a go at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone surrounds me and said, "Gonna jump in one," I'd get in one. But for me, it'd be like 3 or 9, I'd say.
Yeah. Class 9s are good. I enjoyed my years in it. As I say, Lee sampled it, so he knows what it's like. It looks like it could happen again one day. Unfortunately, though, you'll have to get used to small cylinders again, not big ones.
Well, I've just started asking you to share in a car. We've never ever shared, even though we're the same class. We both have our own cars.
Yeah.
So we've never shared. So I mean, it might be divorced before we've got married.
Right. The legacy is TA99. It's obviously the number which will never your family anyway. That's there for life. Nobody else moves to Manchester from wherever in Wales you lived and grew up and take the number with you, and you're not going to give that up. But you decided to bring the Chevy back to life. It had obviously been parked up for a little while, and we've seen the photos that you've put online, we've seen the videos, we've heard it sing again. When did you decide that this was going to happen? Because it is an absolutely beautiful job that has been done, and I can't wait to see it for real again. So when did you decide we're gonna bring this car, which is basically the family heirloom, to you, because it was passed to you to race? So when did you decide, no, I'm going to bring that back, and how much work really has gone into that?
Right, so first question, when I decided, I think when we had the issues with the engine 2014, and then I bought the twin at the end of 2014 to start race in 2015, and it was always on the cards, really. So as soon as we had issues with the engine, it was a case of the engine needs to be rebuilt, and obviously the regulations changed with the bars, etc. So we then were faced another dilemma, I suppose, where we knew when that came into play, the bars, some of the bars were undersized, but the car, I mean, we still don't really know how old it actually is, but I think we've dated part of the car back to 1999, even 2000s. So a lot of the bars had to get cut. I mean, I could send you a photo. I wish we'd weighed it, to be honest, how many bars were cut out. So we've kept So the back end is still as it was. And then, so basically Bentley marked up any bars that were undersized, and you'd be surprised how many bars were undersized. So a lot of the bars come out a lot. There's a lot of work gone into that. I can't really take any credit for that. I mean, I might have been in the garage, I might have rubbed down a couple of bars or take some rivets out, but credit to Lee and a friend of ours called John. They spent hours, and I mean hours, on that car to bring it back to how I remember it when it was first painted, I suppose. And it's just absolutely beautiful now. Like, it's completely like, you think it looks good in photos, it looks even better in real life. Well, it's beautiful.
Are we bringing it back out then? Is it going to see a track again? Yeah. You need to be back in that car.
Well, we brought it up to the regs because I could have easily kept it as was. I could have easily repainted it, redone it, kept it, pushed it to one side and just kept it as a restoration piece. But no, we brought it up to race regulations so that I could be sat on that line again, really. And she'll be out.
Good. I really, really cannot wait. And if I'm sure it's just going to bring back a lot of memories being back in it. I was going to say, when the car was being worked, did you run around it with the oil again?
No, I remember how much of a mess I made the first time, so I didn't allow it.
But no, like I say, if anybody hasn't seen it, you have posted some photos and videos on your own Facebook. It's a stunning piece of work that has really gone into it, and full credit to everybody involved. Now we're gonna our last little bit, we're gonna go back a few years, and this is the bit I told you before we started that I was going to mention about. Now, you know that I'm a commentator, and you know that I've commentated on Class 10 for quite a bit now. I have been like, I think, everybody else by saying the surname wrong. Not yours.
What are you going to say?
But the name that you are going to get. I think it was at the Stroud Nationals, which Lee C. Greaves won. And I'm sure we was on the commentary and you burst in and you said, it
I
is
wouldn't
not...
say burst in, that wasn't burst in.
Well, not quite. It wasn't, it's not C. Graves, it's C. Greaves. Can you get it right? And since I first knew his name, I have always said it as C. Graves. And
everyone has.
I think that's because if you take the C bit out of it, it's pronounced Graves. I'm not sure. It might be Greaves. I'm not sure. But I've always said it as C. Graves, and I think it was Stroud. You told us off.
It was. So it was not Stroud.
Was it not Stroud?
No, 2019 Nationals.
Oh, was it only there at Evesham? Ah, okay. I just remember you coming and saying, it's not Seagraves.
I remember it because I turned around to a friend of ours and I went, he said Seagraves again. And a mate of ours said, go and tell him then. I went, okay.
And I
don't think our friend expected me to go. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I remember going in. And I remember walking in and thinking, it was just going to be yourself and maybe one other person.
There was a few of us in there.
Everyone was there. I was like, I literally remember walking in and I looked up, you were up at the top, weren't you?
Yeah.
And walking in and just looking up, and I had about 7 or 8 faces looking down. I went, I can't back out of this. So I can't really go, don't worry, walk out. So I was like, just to let you know, it's Seagreaves. Bye.
I don't think it was that.
I thought I can't back out of this.
It wasn't quite so polite, I think. You did, because you had to shout it up the stairs. So, but yeah, I just remember, and I'm like,
yeah, well you remembered, and you've said it. You've pronounced it right from then. So.
Yes, I've got it wrong all these years, and nobody's told me.
To be honest, they probably thought it was pronounced the same. So a lot of people say Seagraves. A lot of people say it.
Well, the reason why I mentioned Stroud is because something else happened that day. And it's the reason why you are going to, hopefully, this year, come in, you will get the name Seagreaves. because Lee had just had another one of the best racing days of his life, actually winning the Nationals, which his dad won the Nationals in that same car, which again you, I think, asked me about, because I think that's the only time that's happened. But you can't have imagined what was going to happen after that trophy presentation, surely. Because was it then?
It was then, yes. No, I didn't. So not long after we got together, we were out one evening drinking, and Lee turned around to me and said, "When can I ask you to marry me?" And I thought, right, okay. Anyway, I said to him, "Win the battle of the Nationals and you can ask." So he said, "Well, I've done that." And I was like, "Well, it won't be too hard for you to do it again then, will it?" So he actually won the Bass 2 years after.
Yeah.
And first thing I thought of was back to that evening, back to that night, drunk, thinking, "Oh God, he's going to ask me." It's only been 2 years. So he didn't. And then when he won the Nationals, then it just didn't cross my mind, because
you was obviously elated that he'd won the Nationals.
It was amazing. It was amazing because it was in his dad's car. It was the oldest car on the start line. I mean, credit to him, he's a brilliant driver, and I mean, I love watching him race. And just looking at the line, you just thought you had, like, who was on the line? You had Billy, you had Lance Bowen, you know what I mean, like, and then you had a car which was a few years up, a lot older.
Well, it won in 2010. Yeah, that car won in 2010.
Yeah, I think Terry won it then. Yeah, I think it's 2010, like that. Terry won in that car. Yeah, I think it was.
So then obviously it happened, and covered in champagne and everything. He asked the question, and yeah, we hope for you, obviously, the day will be allowed to come how you want it. And yeah, I wish all the best, and that it happens for you sooner rather than later, because nobody wants to.
Me too. I've got loads of wedding stuff in my lounge. I want to get rid of it.
I wasn't going to show that.
Well, I wasn't going to, but it's there. It's over there too. I want to get rid of this stuff. I want to. So yeah, please happen.
Well, I've got through everything I was going to ask. You've got a guest behind. Yes.
That's Basil. Meet Basil.
Heidi, it's been an amazing time talking to you tonight. I can't remember when you said that you wanted to do this, but you did at some point. And when I started getting back into trying to do this, it sort of slipped my mind that you had asked. I am absolutely overjoyed that you did come back and ask me, because I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you tonight. It's been amazing going back through, as I said at the beginning, an autograss life which hasn't gone the way really anybody else has gone. You didn't race as a junior. You missed out on that. Your main autograss life, the first half of it, has been racing a car which not many people will get the chance to drive something like, but I'm sure a lot would love to have a go. But you get to live that, and you get to race that wonderful car. You've achieved so much, not always realizing it, but you've done more than probably you set out to do. I know there's still one more achievement you want to get, and that is the Nationals, and I believe it will happen.
Do you know what? I'm having that one day. That's mine. And I have said that my name on my driving license will stay as Deeley until that day.
Until you win.
I'm getting a Deeley on that. I'm getting a Deeley on that trophy.
Good. I predicted you once, and I will predict you again that you will win.
Don't predict. Don't predict, because there's pressure.
You're fine with all the pressure. You can handle it. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for talking to us, and I hope you've enjoyed talking about it as well.
Yeah,
that's
really
what I want.
I've really enjoyed speaking to you. Really
because
have.
That's what I want from people, to come on, do this, and enjoy going over things, reliving, and enjoying past experiences and bringing them back, and just thinking, yeah, this sport, it's more than what we do on a Sunday. We have a family which does it. We have an extended family in it, and with that, is there any final messages you would like to put out to whoever may watch this? Obviously, we've not been able to see many of those we would love to see personally, face to face, having a drink, having a proper chat, and having a good weekend, a good time. So, is there anything you would like to say before it all comes to an end?
Guaranteed, I will miss someone off if I was to say.
Just say everybody.
X, Y, and Z. I'll miss someone. I know I will. So I'm just going to say hi to my mum. So just going to say hi, mum. Miss you. Love you. Can't wait to have Christmas Day in March. Hopefully. I'll miss other people off. Guarantee I'll get a text of someone saying like you missed me. So I'm just not going to mention anyone. Everyone knows who you know. If I love them, they know. Yeah, so I'm not going to start listing people off. I'll do what Abby did the other night and just say hi to my mum.
Now, like I say, I never know how to end these videos, and it is just me constantly saying thank you, and I really, really mean that. Enjoy what we can enjoy at the moment, and when we can do more, enjoy it in the best possible way. As I say, I've learned a lot about you. I can't believe that we've rarely even spoken until this. I'm a customer of Be Kind Melts. We'll plug that again. Support Heidi with her Be Kind Melts company for as long as you choose to keep it going. But yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much for having me on.
It's quite all right. I am Russ from GrassChat. This has been Heidi Deeley. One day will be Seagreaves. Got it right again. Nearly got it wrong. And I hope you enjoy watching it whenever you take the time to do. So thank you very much, and take care, and we'll see you in person hopefully one day soon.
Bye.